Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the post-race podcast. After the race around Long Beach, which was an absolutely fantastic race, we are joined by James again.
Hello everyone, welcome to our post-race podcast number 3. And what a super race we had in Long Beach. A pretty painful one for myself, I can't lie. And I reckon I've definitely broken my record that we set in the last episode for mentioning Marcus Ericsson in what just happened. But before we get into this episode, if you might notice, I'm wearing Dylan's merchandise in the very special James NS Indy 500 t-shirt. You can of course get the DylanJamesGP version, which will all be in the merch shop, which I'm sure is definitely linked in the description below. Is that right, Dylan?
It is, and I didn't even pay James to say that, so thank you very much, my friend. Anyway, I'm sure you're all here for our take on the race, so let's get straight into the start without wasting any time. Before we start, actually, I just want to mention I'm in a bit of a makeshift setup at the moment. This isn't where I normally record, so I apologise for the dreadful lighting. Whatever, we'll make do with what we got. So yeah, anyway, I'll let you go into the start, James.
Remarkably clean, that's what I'd say. I mean, Colton Herta did not hold around. I think I've mentioned before how INDYCAR, they like to line up, obviously they line up 2 by 2 by 2, but sometimes the leader goes when there's 12 or 16 cars. The row 4 had only just made it before, he put the foot down. I think Ericsson started 8th, did he? He was the last car to go, and that actually gave him a jump, which is he gained the most places off the start. But great start from Herta. I mean, it looked like last year's Long Beach, the Colton Herta come back. Obviously, he started 14th last year, but he blitzed that race. It looked like it was going to be a Herta masterclass. What a start. 1.3 seconds clear after lap 2 or 3. Remarkable, really. And then up until lap 7, it was pretty quiet. Rosenqvist was like a cork in the bottle until we had Dalton Kellett in the wall on lap 7, Dylan.
We did have Dalton Kellett in the wall with a pretty unforced error into the wall on the outside of turn 1. Not much to say about really. I'm glad he's okay. But yeah, no, it was pretty slow first 5 laps in all honesty. I was starting to worry that we might have a bit of a procession, but God, that did not happen. That was not the case by any means. We've got a lot to talk about today. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to go into the safety car restart where VK decided he was going to make a lunge into the final corner, and I can't even remember who he clattered.
Who was spun around? I can't remember. It just reminded me of Ed Jones sending one in the championship decider last time out. And talking of sends, we pick up on the Rossi-Rosenqvist battle. I said that Rosenqvist was a cork in the bottle. The gap between 3rd and 4th was 8 seconds by the time Rossi thought he'd had enough and sended one. A bit like a move you'd make against sort of like a 65 AI on a Formula 1 game. Rossi lunged one from a mile out. Rosenqvist maybe didn't see him coming, perhaps ignorant to the fact that Rossi was fully committed to the move, turned in at his normal turn-in point and found a Napa Honda on his inside and bang into, I think it was the front wing, into side pod, which meant Rosenqvist dropped like a stone. Rossi then lost a couple of seconds, put him in the clutches of Grosjean and Ericsson, then Ericsson got past and up into 4th place. And really, then the top 4 stretched their legs over the rest of the field. And the one that did kind of make up places, and Long Beach, it's quite tricky to overtake, the man that made up places with a strategy masterclass, the fuel saver himself, Scott Dixon. Dylan, what you got to say about that?
Yeah, no, Scott Dixon was one of the first drivers to pit actually on lap 22. And I called it as he came in. I said, okay, look, this is the start of a Dixon masterclass. He's coming in for a major undercut here. And it worked out, And then Pagenaud came in for his stop a few laps later, which ultimately turned out to be a brilliant call because he managed to get past Herta for the lead for the second stint of the race. But yeah, no, Chip Ganassi, as per usual, brilliant on strategy, which is somewhere where I predicted that Herta would fall off in my preview video. I said that Herta would lose the lead due to a poor strategy. I actually predicted that Pagenaud would win due to this, but obviously we know that didn't happen now. But for a lot of the race, I thought that prediction was going to come true, because overtaking doesn't really happen around Long Beach, and we had a bit of a crazy race from there. So yeah, no, that was a bit crazy.
We really did.
What do you think about that?
And just to carry on from the little mention of the predictions, so far I think I have made a sum total of 0 correct predictions. But as is the way, we moved from one strategy masterclass to a strategies disaster class. Pagenaud pitted 2 laps before Herta and 3 laps before Newgarden. Herta's pit stop was slow. I saw it on the thing. They didn't pick it up on NBC, but the front right tyre was dropped, or the wheel nut, was dropped when he was fastening it. 9.39 seconds to Alex Pagenaud's 5.65 or something like that. Sorry, not 5.65, that'd be ridiculously fast. 7.65. And that was the turning point in the race, because suddenly Herta was extremely frustrated and, as we will come on to, ultimately paid the price. But championship leader, Scotty McLaughlin, backwards about halfway through the race. What do we make of that?
Oh, Scott McLaughlin, he did not have a good day overall, did he? After a brilliant first 2 rounds of the season, I thought he had a kind of a shot at the win today, but that ultimately did not happen. And eventually, he ended up going the wrong way around the final corner, which is something that made me shout at the telly, because it's not something you really want to see. You don't want to see a snap-on tools Penske coming at you as you're rounding the final corner. Really, really poor day for Scott McLaughlin, which is not what they would have wanted at all at Penske, but obviously it's a minor inconvenience for a team that have been dominating the first 3 rounds at the moment, so in the grand scheme of things it should be alright for them, I suppose. That kind of not necessarily kick-started, but that was the start of a time period of just chaos with DiFrancesco spinning, and then eventually Colton Herta's crash, which was very reminiscent of what we saw at Nashville last year.
Yeah, I guess because we've got a little bit of time on the podcast, we can give my favourite funny story about Nashville was the fact that in that race, I think it kicked off 3 a.m. UK time. I just spent the day commentating on GB3, so I saw Ericsson was upside down on lap 4, went to bed, woke up that he'd won and Herta had stuck it in the wall, and had to immediately rewatch the entire thing because I could not believe it. But with Colton Herta's crash, it was just, he was frustrated. I was listening into the radios on the INDYCAR app, which is, I didn't know you could do that, but I absolutely loved it. And Herta was getting more and more and more frustrated. I think he shouted to his dad, Brian Herta, who is his strategist, something like, "You don't need to tell me every lap. I know what to do. I know what the strategy is." I'm not sure the wall was part of the strategy, but there we go.
No, definitely.
We move on.
I was saying while we were watching, Herta's going to be angry driving now. The minute he fell back into third, the minute he started gaining on Newgarden, I thought, okay, look, he's going to be caning it around. He lost the rear at one point, and he collided the wall.
Turn 5.
I think the corner before the one he crashed.
No, it was turn 5. He was following Joseph Newgarden, and he literally dropped it with his hands.
Yeah.
That was when NBC were on an ad break, so those in America weren't lucky enough to watch it, but we got the onboard, and he literally had to flick it with his hands. But then, after one, maybe title-defining crash, if we want to look ahead to the rest of the series, we then had probably the most amusing crash of the day. Simon Pagenaud, horticulturalist, is that what James Hinchcliffe called him on commentary? Didn't know he had such a passion for flowers or fountains, but there we go.
I was going to say, he needs a new garden.
No. End the podcast now. Thanks for watching.
I didn't think you'd like that one. Okay, moving on. Well, the next topic is obviously one that you'll love talking about.
Well, but we'll talk about the restart
Ericsson's
first,
crash.
because the restart was stacked up really nicely. Newgarden leading. He was not Pagenaud was the first to pit. So Newgarden leading, 45 seconds push to pass. Pagenaud leading, 11 seconds to push to pass. Ericsson third. They've all got pretty much identical tyres. 82 seconds to push per pass. Romain Grosjean, red stickers, or were they scuffed? I can't remember. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference.
I'm pretty sure those stickers.
Yeah, stickers. In fourth, and push to pass disabled for 1 lap. Ericsson's just got to hang on to third there, really, and he was under such intense pressure from Grosjean. Hit the loud pedal a little too hard on the exit of 4, and as a street circuit, it's unforgiving. Bang, straight into the wall. And then Scott Dixon took it upon himself to get away with another superbly lucky crash. Like, how is this man's car made out of something different? I swear he could literally go head on into a wall and he'd come out with a slight twing on the front wing. But really, when they got the shot of Ericsson still stood by his car on the next restart, like 15 laps later, that was immense pain.
I knew you were going to mention that. I really. I
sent you the photo.
It was sad to see. I mean, I sent for context. I sent James a voice message on Snapchat, basically just saying that I was sorry for him because obviously you've seen this man and seen how passionate he is. So yeah, no, he was distraught.
Yeah, well, my Marcus Ericsson T-shirt might arrive is perhaps in the pipeline for Friday. And that's if...
Well, he'll be winning round Barber.
Exactly, that's if you're watching this. It better be a good lucky thing. It better give good luck. Hopefully. But the DylanJamesGP merch is never being worn again because it was bad luck.
No, you can't say this. They'll never buy it. Oh, okay. Anyway, moving on to the Malukas and Johnson
buy the merch.
crash.
It's really good. And if you buy the Dylan version, it might bring you slightly better luck than my version. Don't buy the JNS special edition. It brings you days of bad luck. Anyway, we'll move on to the super fight after that restart with about, was it 15 laps left?
Okay.
No seconds of push to pass left.
Yeah.
And Newgarden, and Pagenaud and Grosjean decided that it was gloves are off type stuff, and I loved it. Dylan, I've talked for a while now. Give us your take.
You have. It's your channel now. You might as well just take it. No, it was an absolutely fantastic race. Honestly, it was one of the best battles I've seen on track in a long time. Not necessarily because there was loads of back and forth action, more so just because Newgarden was struggling with the tyres. Grosjean was charging on his brand new reds and obviously made the move on Pagenaud to get into second. And the potential of an overtake into turn one was just there every single lap. So you constantly on the edge of your seat. Just, well, for me, fingers crossed that Grosjean would make a move. Which obviously, unfortunately, didn't happen. But P2 for Roman in the third round of the season for Andretti is okay. That's exactly what he wants to be doing.
Matches his best result.
Exactly. And it's uphill from here, so there could be a win coming on later on in the season. But yeah, no chaos. And in the midst of all this, Jimmy Johnson dropped it under braking and somehow managed to take out David Malukas in the process. So very odd crash, that one, if you want to talk about it.
I mean, what a nightmare weekend for Jimmy Johnson. I feel like the quicker we skate over that, the better, because broke his hand in practice, qualifying. I mean, did he even get out for qualifying? I don't think he was on the back row, so I mean, he might not have done. He might have been his usual self around the street circuit, but
I didn't see him, but I think he was. I'm not sure. Let us know in the comments.
But I mean, other than that, 3 crashes on the weekend, broken hand. At what point do you pack it in and say thanks very much, but it's not been my weekend? But hey, credit to him. He raced with a broken hand for 75, 80 odd laps, so pretty good. And then we ended, actually before we say we ended, I just want to pick up Joseph Newgarden. No seconds of push to pass, and he's defended an absolute masterclass. Of course we'll talk about the win, but like, my word, I thought it was Grosjean's for all money. He was all over the back of him like a rash. So yeah, well done Newgarden. But yeah, Takuma Sato, Dylan, what we on about for that? In Grosjean's old car, of course.
Just another unforced error, wasn't it, really?
Turn 5.
Yeah, and another turn 5 unforced error. It's just it was a race of attrition. There were cars smacking walls left, right, and centre. Cars all over the road. It's just wasn't Sato's day, unfortunately, regarding luck. So, not much I can really say about it. But also, obviously, gave us a pretty slow end to a very chaotic race, and I think we could have seen Pato O'Ward perhaps launch a move on Will Power towards the end had that not have happened.
Did Pato not finish 4th?
We had enough action.
Did Pato not finish 4th?
Did he get Power?
I think Pato finished 4th.
I thought Power was 4th, Pato 5th.
I don't know. Someone let us know in the comments. But
sure,
whatever happened, it's Pato's best result of the season. Is not the win that might kickstart his title hopes, but at least it's something. It's 32 points more than Colton Herta's got. It's 32 points more than Marcus Ericsson's got. It's a sizable chunk more than Scotty McLaughlin's got. But yeah, I guess we move on to our big race takeaways. Dylan, if you want to start them off.
Everyone's favourite part, the race takeaways. So, my first race takeaway is Andretti are back. Kind of. They demonstrated some pace in qualifying, and when it came to race pace, Grosjean was the only driver who managed to score a good result, because obviously Herta decided that the wall was a better alternative to the racing line, and
Rossi just dropped off, really.
Rossi had a bit of a nothing of a race.
He finished 8th in the end, I
don't know if he had damage.
Finished 8th. I think he picked up a bit of side pod damage, but really, yeah, no, you're right. Grosjean...
He had a lot more potential than that.
Yeah, and since the aero screens come in, he's been dropping disaster class after disaster class and becoming more and more frustrated. Yeah. Talking of frustration, Carlton Herta.
Exactly, same old Herta. That's what I've written down here. It's exactly what we saw last year. I argued at the start of this season that he might have matured, might have kind of, I don't know, got past that kind of recklessness, but no, he loses his head every now and then, and that happened today. So no, that's not what Herta needs if he wants to mount a title charge. Obviously his pace is because of how aggressive and like fearless he is, but he's got to hold back, especially when charging on an in lap to try and overcut.
35 points is better than 5. You won't win a title. Yeah. You might not win you might not win a title with 5 extra points, but you certainly won't lose it. Like you gotta be more smart. You've got to be smarter than that. Team Penske, Chevrolet have run every single race. Penske have won every single race. What Rogers Penske's probably like. Is he psyching his team up with a little bit of extra horsepower in charge of the NTT IndyCar series? But I mean, in all seriousness, Joseph Newgarden, an expectant father, and what a performance to do it as well.
Yeah, Scott Dixon, that's someone to talk about. Worried about him in qualifying because obviously P16? P16 is not a Dixon performance. He was very, very angry with himself, and he converted that into a brilliant race, and it was fantastic from Scotty Dixon there, because, well, I mean that's exactly what's led him to all the success that he's had in the series. So, yeah, no, I'm glad that we've seen Dixon finally show up. Hopefully he can mount a charge for a podium at least soon, because that's something that he needs to achieve to get the ball rolling. So, but yeah, no, it is still all to play for.
Yeah.
So. That is the final point here. It is all to play for. Yes, Penske have demonstrated some supreme pace earlier on this season, but who knows what can happen from here.
Well, look, the leader of the championship has gone 16th, first. The old championship leader has gone first, 15th. Those in the running in the championship, Pagenaud's gone second, 7th, third. That's a bit of a tongue twister. So, I mean, really, it is all to play for. It's a long season, plenty of point swings. So yeah, we are in for a treat. I feel like there's 8 or 9 contenders that people, not contenders, because there won't be 8 or 9 people in the title hunt by the time we get to Laguna Seca or Portland.
Potential contenders.
But there are 8 or 9 potential contenders, and it's who can string a title challenge along. And I'm going to use like what Ericsson said. For him to win the title, he said he needed to find an extra 5%. You can find an extra 5%, but let's make sure you keep the other 95%, and it's not in the wall at turn 4. So it is very much...
This is why I have you on the podcast.
It is very much all to play for. And with that being said, Barber Motorsport Park in... Is it 3 weeks again? I can't do it. It is. It's
the 1st of May.
Yeah, that's 3 weeks.
IndyCar, fill out the schedule, please.
Please come to Europe. Dylan, make a video about that. Please come to Europe.
I'm making a video on it now. I'm doing
it. But yes, anyway. Barber Motorsport Park, our first road course of the year. And who are we predicting?
Oh, you put me on the spot here. I haven't actually had to think about it. Okay, qualifying. I'm going to say Simon Pagenaud. I'm going to go for a long shot here. I'm going to go Simon Pagenaud in the Meyershank racing car on pole. And then in the race, I'm going to go for Dixon. I think Dixon, get the ball rolling. Again, this is probably wrong. Dixon from Award from Pagenaud.
You are very much a master of the pole sitter to third place. Is there some like statistical backing for this? Like, do you have Roger Penske on the phone going, make sure the pole sitter finishes third?
No, I mean, to be fair, like I said in my predictions at the end of my preview, I predicted that Herta would be on pole and then not finish on the podium. So
it was unbelievably unbright of me not to put Herta on pole.
No, definitely. I wholeheartedly agree. Anyway, what are your predictions? We've got to get this wrapped up. We're running out of time.
It was too crazy. Right, predictions. Pole position is going to be Will Power. I thought he might. Okay. I feel like Will Power will be on pole. And then, top 3 is going to be... I jinxed Ericsson by putting him on the podium, so I'm not going to do that this time. It's going to be... Castro Neves third. Big long shot. Okay. Castro Neves third, Power second, and Pagenaud win.
Okay, that's fair enough. I haven't put Grosjean anywhere. I think he'll be good around Barber.
F1 cars are quite good. F1 drivers are quite good around the road courses, especially if they're undulating like Barber is. It goes up and down like a light switch. So
it's the first ever track Grosjean tested as well. So anyway,
we'll see what happens.
Predictions, isn't it? We'll see what happens. So thank you for tuning in to the post-race podcast. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe to the channel and go and check out James's channel.
It's a little bit dry at the moment because, life is happening, but we will be back in a little while. So there'll be plenty. I'm moving to INDYCAR. I'm moving to INDYCAR content anyway. So I'll be joining the club on that side with Dylan. I'm going to cross the pond to our transatlantic friends.
I just thought if he's shouted out my merch, I've got to repay the favour. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I'm not sure when it will be, but I'm sure there will be one. So, yeah. I'll see you
Always
later.
the master of wrapping up podcasts, isn't he?
I'm really not. Bye.